Lee was a panda, but he felt different. He often wondered why he wasn't like the other pandas in his family. His fur was not black and white like his brother's. Instead, it was a vibrant mix of colors that made him unique. Lee's fur was full of colors. It was a beautiful blend of shades that made him stand out in the bamboo forest. He had yellow, blue, and even pink. These colors were rare and made him look like a living rainbow.
I just want to fit in. I want to be like my brothers and not feel so different.
Every day, Lee's brothers played in the bamboo forest. They tumbled and wrestled, enjoying their time together. Lee tried to play too, but he felt out of place. His colorful fur made him feel like he didn't belong. His colorful fur made him stand out. Lee's mother told him,
"You are special, Lee. Your colors make you unique and beautiful."
but Lee didn't feel special. He felt alone. He couldn't understand why being different had to be so hard. One day, Lee wandered away from his family. He needed to find a place where he could feel at peace. He needed to be alone. As he walked through the forest, he thought about his colorful fur and how it made him feel isolated. Eventually, Lee stumbled upon a beautiful meadow filled with flowers of every color imaginable. It was a breathtaking sight. For the first time, Lee felt a sense of belonging. The colors of the flowers matched his fur, and he felt like he was part of something beautiful. In the meadow, Lee met other animals with unique colors and patterns. They welcomed him with open arms. Lee made new friends who appreciated his colorful fur. They played together and had fun, and Lee no longer felt alone. Lee realized that being different wasn't a bad thing. It made him special and allowed him to find a place where he truly belonged. With newfound confidence, Lee returned to his family. He was proud of his colorful fur and the friends he had made. His family embraced him, and Lee knew that he was loved for who he was. He no longer felt the need to fit in because he had found his place in the world. Lee felt content and happy. He had learned that being different was something to be celebrated, not hidden. From that day on, Lee enjoyed his time with both his family and his new friends. He played, laughed, and lived his life to the fullest, knowing that he was special just the way he was. Lee walked along the sandy path, his paws leaving gentle imprints on the soft ground. The sun was shining brightly, casting a warm glow over everything. He continued walking until he found the beach, a place he had discovered by chance one day while exploring. The waves crashed against the shore, creating a soothing rhythm that seemed to match the beating of his heart. Lee felt calmer here, as if the ocean had a magical way of washing away his worries. He liked the sound of the ocean, the way it roared and whispered at the same time. It was a symphony of nature that he never grew tired of listening to. On the beach, there was an old boat weathered by time and the elements. It had been there for as long as Lee could remember, a silent guardian of the shore. The boat was turned on its side, its once vibrant paint now faded and peeling. Lee often wondered about its history, who it had belonged to, and the adventures it had seen. Lee liked to sit inside the boat, nestled in its wooden embrace. It was his special place, a sanctuary where he could escape from the world. It felt safe and quiet inside the boat, a perfect spot for daydreaming. The gentle rocking motion, as if the boat was still at sea, made him feel at peace. Lee imagined sailing away in the boat, the wind in his fur and the open sea before him. He dreamed of distant lands and new adventures, places where he could be free. He dreamed of seeing new places and meeting new friends, friends who would accept him for who he was. Friends who wouldn't care about his colorful fur, but would see the kindness in his heart. Lee often thought about these friends, imagining their faces and the fun they would have together. They would explore new places, share stories, and create memories that would last a lifetime. The sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange, pink, and purple. It was a breathtaking sight, one that Lee never tired of watching. As the sky darkened, Lee knew he should go home. The beach was his special place, but he couldn't stay there forever. He looked back at the quiet beach one last time, taking in the beauty and serenity of the moment. With a sigh, he turned and began the journey back, already looking forward to his next visit to his special place. As the sky grew darker, the wind started to blow. The waves grew bigger and crashed against the shore. Lee felt scared. He had never seen a storm like this before.
Oh no, what's happening?
Suddenly, a giant wave lifted the boat. Lee held on tight as the boat was tossed around in the stormy sea. He closed his eyes and wished for the storm to end. The storm raged on all night. When the sun finally rose, Lee opened his eyes. He was no longer on the beach. He was on an island. Lee looked around the island. It was small and covered in palm trees. Lee felt scared and alone. He didn't know where he was or how to get home.
Where am I? How do I get back home?
Just then, Lee saw something move. It was a turtle, but not a regular turtle. This turtle had a colorful shell. She introduced herself as Patricia.
Don't worry, you're safe here. This island is full of friendly animals.
Lee felt a little better. He was still lost, but at least he wasn't alone. Patricia took Lee to meet the other animals on the island. There was a parrot with rainbow feathers, a monkey with a purple face, and a snake with scales that shimmered like jewels. Lee couldn't believe his eyes. These animals were all different, just like him. They welcomed him with open arms, or wings, or fins, depending on the animal. For the first time, Lee felt like he belonged. He played with the other animals and told them about his home. They listened patiently and made him feel loved. Lee wanted to go home, but the ocean was too big to swim across. The animals decided to help him build a raft. They worked together, each using their unique skills.
I'll use my beak to collect strong vines.
And I'll use my strength to pull down branches.
Even the snake helped by using his body to tie knots. Lee was amazed by how well everyone worked together. He had never felt so happy and accepted. He knew he would never forget his new friends. After many days of hard work, the raft was finally finished. It was made of strong logs and vines, ready to sail. Lee was excited to go home, but he was also sad to say goodbye to his friends.
Thank you for everything. You taught me that it's okay to be different.
The animals smiled. They knew Lee would never forget them.
We'll miss you, Lee, but we know you'll do great things.
Lee climbed onto the raft and waved goodbye to his friends. A group of dolphins swam up to the raft. They had offered to guide Lee home. As Lee sailed away, he looked back at the island. He thought about all the wonderful animals he had met. He realized that being different wasn't a bad thing. It made him special. The dolphins swam alongside the raft, guiding Lee through the waves. The sun shone brightly, and Lee felt hopeful. He knew he was on his way home. After a few days at sea, Lee spotted something familiar in the distance. It was the bamboo forest. Lee's heart leaped with joy. He was almost home.
I'm almost home.
As the raft reached the shore, Lee jumped out and ran towards his family. They were so happy to see him. They had been worried, sick. Lee hugged his mother and brothers tightly. He told them all about his adventure and the amazing animals he had met. From that day on, Lee embraced his colorful fur. It was a moment of revelation for him, a turning point in his life. He had always felt different, but now he saw his uniqueness as a strength rather than a weakness. The vibrant hues of his fur were no longer a source of embarrassment, but a badge of honor. He realized that it was a part of what made him unique and special. Each color told a story. Each shade represented a part of his journey. Lee began to understand that his colorful fur was a gift, a symbol of his individuality. It set him apart in a world where blending in was often the norm. He no longer felt like he had to hide who he was. The days of feeling ashamed and trying to cover up his true self were over. Lee stood tall, his fur gleaming in the sunlight, a testament to his newfound confidence. He walked with a spring in his step, knowing that he was finally being true to himself.
I don't have to hide who I am anymore. These words echoed in his mind, a mantra that he repeated to himself every day. It was a declaration of self-acceptance, a promise to never again let fear dictate his actions. Lee felt a sense of liberation, a freedom that came from embracing his true identity.
Lee even started to enjoy playing with his brothers in the bamboo forest. The laughter and joy that filled the air were infectious. He no longer felt like an outsider, but a cherished member of his family. The bamboo forest became a place of happiness and camaraderie, where Lee could be himself without any reservations. His colorful fur made him stand out, but now he didn't mind. In fact, he relished the attention it brought. Other animals would often stop and admire his unique appearance, and Lee would smile proudly. He had come to love the way his fur shimmered in the light, each color blending harmoniously to create a beautiful tapestry. He knew that being different was a good thing. It was a lesson he had learned the hard way, but one that he would never forget. Differences were what made the world interesting and vibrant. Lee began to celebrate not just his own uniqueness, but the unique traits of all the animals around him. He saw beauty in diversity and strength in individuality. Lee never forgot the friends he had made on the island. They had been a crucial part of his journey, teaching him valuable lessons about acceptance and friendship. The memories of their time together were etched in his heart, a constant reminder of the bonds they had formed. He often thought of them, wondering how they were and hoping they were happy. He knew that even though they were far away, they would always be in his heart. Distance could never diminish the connections they had made. Lee felt a deep sense of gratitude for the friends who had supported him and helped him see the beauty in his uniqueness. They were a part of him just as much as his colorful fur was. And in his heart they would always remain close, no matter how far apart they were.